Okay, meeting called to order at 6:31.
5:30.
Excuse me, 5:31. Time difference. Okay, may we start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you all for being here. I'll go ahead and read the mission statement and purpose and goals. The mission statement of the Lower Green Local Historic District Study Committee. The duly appointed Newbury Lower Green Local Historic District Study Committee is responsible for conducting an investigation to determine the desirability and feasibility of establishing a local historic district inclusive of the Newbury Lower Green, considering the historic significance of all buildings, structures, features, sites, or surroundings that would be included in such proposed local historic district. The purpose and goal: to protect the historic Newbury Lower Green and the natural and built environment surrounding it for future generations to enjoy and experience the visual sense of the past history of our town. A Lower Green Local Historic District will create neighborhood stabilization and community pride, and forever provide Newbury school children with a playing field and educational opportunities. The intent of this local historic district is to maintain and improve the settings of those buildings and places, and to encourage new designs compatible with existing buildings in the district. Okay. Is there any discussion for the meetings of the July 22nd? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept.
Minutes.
The minutes? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, aye. Thank you very much for doing that, Ellie. They're always excellent. Study plan progress report. Lon, did you want to take that over, or Ellie, is that you?
I think it's all of us, but
It's
because
all
I
of us.
have the minutes from the last meeting pulled
Okay.
up, as usual, I kind of pulled out our assignments, if you will, so we can kind of go through them as we can. I have some updates from Robin as well. We spoke by email today.
Okay.
So let us see. Robin sent me over another architectural property summary for our significance section regarding the First Settlers Burial Ground. So I added that into the draft plan. However, we are still waiting on a few reports that I think are up for Robin. I don't feel confident writing them up.
Okay.
One of them is the Lower Green Schoolhouse, which should 100% have its own little section of why it's important.
And I'm working on a macros for that too. So
Oh, you are?
I've been collecting-
Okay,
I've got collected a whole bunch of stuff.
Fantastic, just a one paragraph.
Yeah, and the Historic Commission had done a write-up for a macros submittal before I joined, and I've been on forever. So I was able to dredge that up, and I can pull information out of that, some stuff
That
that
would
I
be
didn't know, which is great.
Okay.
So what Ellie said was only about a paragraph.
Yeah.
I heard that.
So we don't need
Yeah, it's
17 usual Hockmeister thesis.
that's great for the macros for the state.
We'll trim this down.
Yeah, I think that's going to be honestly the theme of tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, so. All right, so Lon, you will do that. That would be great.
Because I'm working on that for the Historic Commission too.
Yeah,
so.
okay. And then I think there's one, or we have kind of, we pulled out like other public spaces. So the Lower Green, obviously, that can kind of be wrapped into the schoolhouse one. But if we wanted to write a couple of sentences about the Evergreen Cemetery, or isn't there one more?
First Settlers.
That
There's
one
the-
has been written.
Yeah.
There's
Oh,
fir-
okay, no, that,
There's the one across the bridge, but I believe that
Oh.
that's outside of the boundary,
Right.
even though it is of historical significance.
Sure.
but the evergreen,
No.
all right.
Yeah, so I'm
I
not-
can do that.
Just very briefly, even if to add it into the first settlers paragraph, just to make that then more of a cemeteries paragraph.
And I can give you a book on the evergreen that you can use.
Oh.
It's at the schoolhouse.
Oh,
I
okay.
could get it on my way home tonight.
Okay.
I think I have the key in my pocket. Yes, I do. We can get it on the way back.
Okay.
Cool. All right, thank you very much. So those are the other two, and then I believe that our architectural section, which if any of you want to write a little bit about your own house, you are welcome to. But otherwise, we don't need to
From
write about
humble
every property,
beginnings.
so it's
Yeah.
just, the significant
Well, since they're
properties.
both on the green. it
Right,
might make
and same with
sense.
Robbins, that was
Yeah.
another, I hope he will write one for his own house since he
And what are
knows
you
so
looking
much.
for in that?
It's similar, so you can look at the one I've
Like that
written
table that
for.
Robin's got?
No,
With
so-
a picture and stuff?
No, so what it is, I mean, we will have a photograph, but those, don't worry about those yet. No, so I wrote up a bit for the Dolittle House, something similar to that. Or I think
Okay.
I also did Seddon Tower,
Yeah.
and Ferry House, I did those things. So something, just brief history, why it's significant, and how it's still architecturally.
Okay, and so I'll say C, Dolittle House right up first.
Yep, and those are in.
This is what
Oh,
Ellie's
look
talking
at that,
about.
marvelous, yeah.
I'm a hoarder, so.
Well, I could cut and paste that out of the information I've got.
Yeah, something
That
very,
much.
it doesn't need to be a lot of work, just something, if,
So I'll
and
do
it's up to
mine,
you,
it's
if you guys
easy,
want to
and-
feel
So
like.
my
you have to.
house was moved.
Most of them were.
Yeah, I don't know when it was moved. I believe that the date, my house is circa 1760. I believe it's a lot earlier. There are chamfered summer beams, transverse summer beams. I believe that the house was raised. I believe that it was just a hall and parlor. But this is just in my own pointy head, so I can, I can.
Elizabeth Dole's Homesteads article talks about when the house was taken off of that lot, but it doesn't say anything about it going back on. The
If
Homesteads.
it was, this is the first time I'm hearing this.
It's never
I've
come,
lived
never
next to you
come
for
up
like
before.
15 years.
Well, we were always talking about when your house got there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not in there. But it is in there about when the house was moved, and that the property went back into the ownership of the Doles. Because it
Okay.
left the ownership of the Doles. I think it went to a plumber.
So, well, yeah, my house was both a plumber and a dole home, which is, I'm between the two of them anyway, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So we'll write up just a paragraph or so.
Yeah, if you want, again, no pressure to do that, but since you guys, live in historic homes and are on the green and are part of this committee, if you would like to add one.
I've got a ton of material in my house.
Wonderful, I figured you guys might. Okay, so that's number one. Okay, so I looked at the history that we have, and I combined what you guys had drafted with what Bethany had drafted. We have way too much.
Yeah, a lot.
Way,
Yeah,
way,
yeah, a
way
lot.
too much.
Yeah. I started printing it out and I was,
Like, oops.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
51 pages, stop, cancel.
Yeah. So I will admit I did not read through it all. I kind of looked at
I read
sections.
most of it, yeah,
I was like, okay, so what I did is I put a comment on our study plan that kind of pulls out what, through our discussions, I feel the most, like, the periods of history around the Lower Green, right? We have the indigenous occupation and settlement, then we have the first colonial settlement, and then we have kind of lumped the 19th century a little bit all together, but I'm not sure, that could be separated a bit out, and then we have the 20th century, and then what is today, and so kind of 5 different sections of, we could have a paragraph or 2 for each of those. I genuinely think that's all we need for history, because we don't need to go into all the wonderful, fun, fantastic stories.
So what I need to do, this is the setting, and all I gotta do is trim that down to
Yeah,
2 paragraphs.
Right, and kind of distill what is essential about the genius loci, the setting, the what does that translate to? The spirit of the place
Yeah.
of the Lower Green for each of those periods.
So I was going in here and kind of mentioning the prominent, to the south, to the north, the buildings.
Yeah,
That were
okay.
there, the properties.
Yeah.
And so the question would be, does that occurring in any other discussion?
So it can, so I think that once we have.
Because if it's here, we would need it there.
Well, right, we
Or
don't
the
need
other
to,
way
we don't need to
around.
describe the buildings, but it would be great to say, for instance, in our colonial section, if we can mention XYZ house, you have the date, if there's a system of
I've
doing
got
it,
the house name,
And that's
the
it.
date,
and that's it.
and
Was built during this
sometimes
period.
the builder.
Yeah, and then because that would be underlined, we know it's very visible, so aesthetically it can be pulled out, but it directs you back to, oh, that's one of the properties that is called out in the section specifically about properties.
I see.
That's how they do it in the National Register, district nominations, sometimes Macris districts do it as well. So it's just, yes, no. So in the setting paragraphs, you're mentioning the people, and then if you say plumber built so-and-so house, you put in parentheses your address, the name of the house, maybe the date, underline it, that's it.
Okay.
Because then you know they're referred to the physical. So the setting is more about the social history, and then we have the architectural history separate. Does that make
Oh.
sense?
I think so. And this, it's separate, separate means it's somewhere else.
That section, in this.
It's in this section?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Which-
That I don't
Which
talk about.
is, in the report, is they're adjacent to each other. So they bleed
Oh,
into each
okay.
other in terms of where they are, but, yeah, so I have that written as a comment in the document. Just, again, if there are more or fewer sections, those of you who know more about the history of the area, if you feel like this warrants its own couple paragraphs, I leave that up to you, but I feel like we can take what we have and.
And I agree
cut.
completely with the periods that go
Okay.
through that. Because the period that we're trying to preserve is that third period, the 18th and 19th century
Yeah.
architecture. I mean,
Right.
That feeling, because there are almost none of the original structures are there.
Right.
So, I mean,
Architecture,
so
landscape.
they were built, they've been replaced or
Moved.
hauled away.
Most,
or
yeah,
or
twisted
burned
and
down or
turned and.
whatever. Yeah, so that last one being what we're trying to preserve is that third period, or the feeling of that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, Ellie, you said that the setting part is the social history, and the architectural, or the architectural part is just year, name, address. Is that what you mean?
Okay, not
Robin did
quite.
that inventory that has the house,
So-
the type.
So
of
that's
what-
different. That will be an appendix.
Yeah.
We're gonna pare that down as well, because I've looked at other
Yeah.
examples and we don't need to include all of the
Yeah.
roof shingle type and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's mostly
okay.
for us to identify style. And
Okay,
then we kind of delete or hide those columns because they're not relevant to the overall story.
okay.
And we do put those in appendices of all of the properties that are included, absolutely. But no, so what I mean, and I'm just gonna pull up the study report because that would be the easiest thing to do to reference the sections. That's incorrect, try again. I know, you can do it. My computer's been having some problems. Draft, okay. So I went back to the MHC template and I compared it to our annotated note outline, and I genuinely, I have questions about what exactly our process has been, because I think we made more work for ourselves than we needed
It
to.
feels that way.
Possibly.
It feels that way.
Yeah.
It feels like
Yeah.
we've gone off on tangents.
Yeah, it
And
really
I
does.
kind of feel like I'm
Okay.
bushwhacking.
Okay, good. So,
Okay,
like,
I'm glad you said
I was
that.
looking at the
Yeah.
the outline, I'm like, wait, why did we spend a
Yeah.
month or two making our own outline when they have one right there and ours looks like that one?
Yeah.
We reinvented the wheel.
Yeah,
And we
the
don't need
outline came from the documents that we had and incorporating that information into the proposed, or the one like you said. we had
Yeah.
outlined.
So what I did was I copied our text into that template, which is what we will submit anyway, and then included any of the outstanding sections of our outlines, the one that we created.
In bold,
in
that's what
bold.
you have in bold.
Yeah, so
okay.
that's what's in
Yeah.
bold, and that's the sections that we have not done yet.
Okay,
Or what I felt. So what I mean is, we go into methodology, which is mostly done, thank you, Lon, both of you. Thank you for doing methodology.
mostly him, yeah.
But there's a
He typed it up.
few more sentences, I think, just at the end, about the process that we can add, nothing big, and that's easy enough to do. And it goes from there into, methodology, into background of why the committee was set up, what is the need of the area, what is the pressure, development pressure or otherwise on the area, that background, which is wonderful, we have most of that done as well. Then the next section is significance. And in that I kept, so in the same document for your reference, the words in italics are MHC's directions. So those will be deleted afterwards, but I kept them in there just so that we continue to understand what that section is supposed to be in terms of our checklist. So that is a description of the past history of the area and why it's important, and also what remains of the area, right?
That's what this is.
So that's what that is part of, yes.
Well, that ought to be trimmed out.
So yeah, that is the many, many pages of needing to be trimmed. And it's great, it means that most of the work's done, it's just editing, right? And then at the end of that is the properties we call out. So that's what's also mostly done, except for a few houses that you guys are each gonna do your own, and cemetery and Lower Green Schoolhouse. So there's no differentiation between those two sections necessarily, subheading, minor, but it's the same, it's part of the significance. So those houses are called out and their own history is written. Meaning that in the section above, when we're talking about the building of certain pieces, you mentioned that this house was moved to this parcel in this date or around circa insert date. And that's it. You don't need to say anything else about the house. You talk about the people then, you continue to talk about the area and why it's important, but we don't need to get into more about the houses in particular.
But I want to say something about the limestone chamfer and the transverse.
You can add that into your architectural description of your house if you'd like.
And the corn cob insulation.
Oh, lovely. Corn crab, field grass.
Yeah, seaweed.
Yes, seaweed and the newspaper,
Yeah,
which is my favorite
yeah,
because
right.
we get a lot of extra information from the newspaper installation.
I have nothing in the front of my house. It's just wood.
There you go.
It's
That's-
layers
that's-
and layers of wood.
Oh,
like
really?
this.
So-
And then eventually the,
Okay.
the lathing,
Not hollow.
the wood lath and the horsehair.
I don't know what the R factor of mice poop is, but, I'm sure that.
The dead mice are much better.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, except that they grease eventually, they grease stains. All right,
I had somebody come out and look at maybe blowing in some insulation on the old part of the house. There's nothing to blow it into. There's nothing there. There are air spaces that are this big.
well,
They're
that's not a
places,
bad
so-
thing. Yeah. It means
Right,
that, it
at
means that
least, yeah.
you can weather seal the outside if you're having drafts.
No, drafts are no problem.
Okay.
You gotta put your hand on the wall.
Oh, I see.
And
Okay.
I don't know what.
So that's the architectural part. Then the next section of the report is our justification of boundaries. And we haven't written that part yet. That is kind of what I
We
hope.
haven't agreed, yeah.
Let's hope what
yeah.
what we can almost finalize today. I
Yeah,
really hope that
okay.
we can do that. So there's that, and then we have the district map, which I've created, it just needs to be finalized, and then we have the property index, and then we get to the appendices, and then we have the, the bylaw, all that stuff.
Now, this map that you got, is this an assessor's map?
Mhm.
Okay, good, okay.
So that's the
Good.
legal map
All
that the
right.
town uses.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out how to make it better quality, because it will be legally recorded. At this
Oh,
point, it's just
yeah.
a screenshot that I blew up as big as I could.
Yeah, this
Um,
one has addresses, this one is just the,
Yeah, so I have one that's addressed and one that is not. And it
Unlabeled.
will also be in
Oh, I
black
see,
and white. So
because the
yeah.
lines are kind of.
Yeah.
Fuzzy. So the colors are just for us. It will eventually be black and white.
Oh,
So,
really?
yes,
Oh.
it has to be light. It's recorded with
Oh,
the
okay.
Oh,
registry
it has to be,
black and
so
Oh,
it can be
alright.
copied.
white.
right.
Yeah, so
Okay.
we can have it in color in the report, but I have to think about how it will show up black and white.
okay.
Okay, so anyway, you know the rest of the part of the study report, but that's where we're at. We're not in too bad of shape, except that we really just need to pare down what we've got and do that. I would like to, I said this in my email earlier, but I would really love to have the first draft of this done by the end of the month.
Well, it would be nice is, once we've got that map and agreed on, then we can start scheduling these public meetings.
Yes, and we can talk about that as well.
Because, yeah,
Because I am very conscious that we don't meet terribly often, and the holidays tend to mess up the end of the year, and town meeting is
Yeah.
next
May,
spring, so
yeah.
it just,
April.
we need to have, anyway.
well, it's
Okay.
gotta go
April.
back and forth, at least once to
To MHC.
Boston, and then to
Yeah.
the select board, and then maybe back
Oh, yeah.
again, depending on how many red marks we get.
Okay, so, drafting of history in terms of that, now I know Bethany had written a lot of that as well. Would someone be willing to read through the history section and divide it roughly into the, 4 or 5 eras? just copy and paste, put headings so that we kind of have an idea of how big each section is.
And you're talking about the three
Yeah.
areas that we just defined?
Well,
Where they're
so,
indigenous, colonial, 19th century, 20th century. Well, we can maybe, no, 20th century and then today.
Okay, so, because a minute ago you were talking about just three.
I thought I mentioned 5.
I don't remember.
But 19th,
Okay,
so 19th and early 20th century could probably be combined,
okay,
right? So they don't need to be like 100 years to 100 years, but I'm thinking pre-European, so indigenous section.
right.
Then we have first settlers, first colonial European settlers as a section. And then we have the section where most of the extant buildings date from, so that would be maybe say 1740s to, is 1890s too long?
yeah,
Okay, so we can divide those up maybe from 1740s to 1830s, and then
yeah,
1830s, 40s through 1910s.
okay.
And then we go to today and show what they look like today. And it's important to at least make some reference to what has changed and what has not. Because if there's nothing to protect, why are we protecting it? So we have to show that there's still something to
Yeah.
protect.
In one paragraph each? Is that what you're looking for?
So some
Or-
of those are probably gonna be a little bit longer, but I'm expecting probably indigenous section to, probably be about a paragraph. Because we don't know that much. We can
Yeah.
speculate, right? But we
Yeah.
just discovered that we don't know too much.
No, we can't find any maps with the burial grounds or anything.
Right, so that's
Yeah.
all kind of hearsay. So that, I'm expecting the 1730s to 1830s section to probably be a bit bigger, and then the one after that to probably be a bit bigger as well, because those seem to be the most significant
Yeah.
periods. The first settlers, you could probably talk a lot about them, I don't think we need to.
Yeah.
But I think establishing why they settled here, how they laid it out, and who the most important people were, maybe. And then
Especially, well, at least in our area, because
Well, exactly.
there aren't a lot of names in our area. It's a lot of plumbers.
Right.
Isley,
Doles.
Doles.
Right, and just kind of saying these
Blunt.
big families
Yeah.
who kind of dominate this area and moved in, they
Yeah.
divided up the land, kind of the
Noise,
basics. Land Lower Green was parceled out as it looks like today, that kind of stuff.
And I talked to Richard this weekend about a map. He said he saw one thing that he was gonna go back and check, just make sure there weren't burial grounds on it. But it was
Oh.
something, he said no initially, and then when I met with him this weekend, he said, well, there was one thing that I'm gonna go back and look
So
at.
Richard is part of the Historic Commission. Richard, what's his last name?
More, M-O-R-I-N.
Moran?
And he's
yeah.
going to write, and he said he's going to get to our, I said, we just need a couple of paragraphs
Yeah.
for that first period.
Just getting back, so, Ellie, you said, so pre-European indigenous, colonial, and then 1730s to 1830s?
Roughly,
Roughly 1830s to 1930s?
1910, I think.
well, so, and we can play with that date, it's
Ish.
gonna be dependent upon
to present.
which properties I think we choose, because there are some properties built in around 1910 that
Yeah.
we don't agree on
Yeah.
whether they are historically
Yeah,
significant, so it
yeah.
depends. We'll
Yeah.
talk about that. And then we go kind of 20th century to today. And that's a big wrap up of just,
Okay,
they're still here, a couple of them have been moved, Seton burned down or was moved there, but it's like that kind of stuff.
okay.
Yeah, but the location is also important, for trying to.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Because
Exactly. The bridge,
You can't
the-
just look at the house that's there now.
No, exactly.
And the pressure, the development.
Yes, and that will be kind of
Okay.
part of the today
All right,
section.
okay.
We'll have gone into why that is significant to the creation of the local historic district earlier in why this committee was set up. But these houses have been built, numerous houses have been built in this area in the last 5 to 0 years. Google satellite image changes every time I
I
look at
know,
it.
I
I was like,
know,
wait a
I
minute, my
know.
snapshot
And-
Yeah.
and
from 2 months
almost-
ago didn't have a house there.
Exactly.
And all but one that I can think of does not fit the current architecture of the area.
Yeah, so, right, and
Not
so
one
they're,
of them.
and so
or
they're,
one
so
of
they're,
them,
they're
sorry,
very
just
different,
one.
right, and so that's part of
Yeah.
important, is this area is rapidly changing. There is a lot of subdivision and development going on, and we just want to, make sure that the historic center that people do love about Lower Green is preserved. And it
So-
still is right now, important
So,
thing.
we don't have, we have some of this information, we don't have all of that information. So when you said, can someone go through and just mark,
Yeah.
you know, whatever?
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of this.
Okay, so that's
So-
what we need to know, right? Like I said, I haven't read through all of that. Sounds like you have.
I
Most of it.
Yeah, most of it, yeah.
Just going through and saying, all right, we have a ton on early settlers. We have a ton on this and that. It sounds like, I think we probably know most of the information that we need, right? Like-
When you say earlier, you mean the colonial, the second group.
Yes.
Okay.
European.
And I just wrote these in the
And we don't
minutes.
need a lot of information on that
No,
because
but
none of
we-
those structures are standing.
But we need to go through and see what's written, where
Right.
it divvies up.
The Dole Little House is still standing, and
That's true.
Yeah,
That's one
and
of those
the-
early ones.
Toll House, the Ferry House.
That one was not
When
dated.
when is the Dole Little? What-
Dole Little is 16.
Oh, is it? Okay, I thought it was 17.
17. Sorry.
I don't remember.
16 or further.
I'm only on the historic commission, so
I only work for the company that owns it.
why would I?
Dole is 1715.
Oh,
That's
what?
1715.
1715, no.
I know it looks old.
That's-
It looks older
yeah, it
because it
does
was
look old.
restored in
Yeah,
the
this is-
early
yeah.
20th century by
So
Shannon
it,
or
so
whatever.
it,
and
so
then-
it kind of fits into the second one.
Well, it depends on where you cut that mark off. It's definitely.
The
I would-
oldest one I know of
would-
is the Ferry House,
That's
which
not
is
the oldest.
1705.
No, it's not.
No, the
What
Dole
else?
Little is first period, so, right?
Post medieval. Yeah.
Don't
So
Little
so
is-
it's
wait, what did she say?
1725, right?
So 1715. So
No, but 1725 is the cutoff for first period.
I'm saying post medieval as instead.
Oh, I see,
Yeah,
yes.
not, those are the
Yeah,
same, it's
I
just,
see what you mean.
first period, we don't tend to use
Post-medieval.
anymore.
Oh, okay, good.
The Ferry House is 1705?
She
No,
knows.
it's not,
What is it?
1770.
Oh, jeez, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
There's
there
been
you
a lot-
go, so now you got, now we can't trust the dates we're finding.
Well, right, and there's been a lot of discussion about that one, but I have read the research, I have tried to figure this out
Wow.
with the current owners, with previous owners, with Abbott Will Cummings research, back in the 80s. And, no, by all accounts, the building that is standing right now was built in around 1770.
So the Dole Little House is the
And go
oldest.
with- yeah.
1715,
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
And it's
That
antiqued,
So something
right? That
in
one
here
was
is wrong.
antiqued. Seddon Tavern was antiqued.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, mostly new because it burned, but regardless. So it's important to identify those, that a lot of these structures are not original. Doesn't
Okay,
mean they're not historically significant,
yeah.
but they do not necessarily date from the early 17th century. However, in terms of when post-medieval cutoff dates are, we tend to, it depends.
I'm glad
But-
you're saying this because I do go by Abbott Will Cummings,
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
Yeah.
History of first period homes, yeah.
There it is, so that's 1777. The
1770?
Toll House, Ferry House.
Circa 1770, we don't have an exact date, but it's circa
1770, see,
1770.
okay, got it.
Yeah, and this is in the write-up to those
Okay.
dates.
Interesting.
Yeah, 1720s were in Georgian period, but again, they kind of bleed, and the way that Dole Little looks today, it looks more post-medieval,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
it probably is, 1715 is kind of early for a Georgian period, especially,
Same with the
Here.
Jackman Willett House. Yeah, I would say that that's post-medieval.
yeah, yeah. And you have, right, just like later periods, you have some
Yeah.
bleed together.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not cut and dry. Okay. So, yes, Joy, would you be willing to mark the sections?
So mark the sections,
mark them.
I'll do that.
Yeah,
okay.
and that way we can identify what we're missing, what we have too much of, and can start paring down. And then, if it's okay with you guys, by email, once Joy, you've done that, we can go through, and since there's 5 of us and there's 5 sections, we can just each, if it's okay, take one and just edit it down to something manageable. If it's an overbearing large one, if we need something more, then we can talk about who's the best fit to do that.
Bethany had talked about having her summer interns work on indigenous research, indigenous people's research. I wonder if she has any comments on that. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
because up to now, it's all hearsay. And did you look over Madison's stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
no.
anything that she
Okay.
has is on our website, which is I did copy,
Oh, okay,
and
okay.
it's in that section.
I did notice that in the Dropbox, there's a contact section and Madison is still listed
Oh.
and Bethany is not.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That's good to know. I will update that contact information. All right, so.
So I will,
divide
I'll
sections.
just mark it out. Shall I put it in bold or shall I put it in?
Yeah, put headings.
Okay.
And then if you need to copy
Alright.
and paste, just to like
Okay.
move some paragraphs down, that would be, yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you have, over here, you have the comment section.
Yeah,
So I would
you can add comments or.
put, this was included,
Sure, if that's how you want to do it, yeah, that's totally fine.
Okay,
Or you can
just-
just
it
add,
needs to be done, okay?
Yeah.
Not where or what, or what.
Yeah,
what
yeah,
looks
however
like it
makes
just
sense to
needs-
you.
Okay, all right.
yeah.
I'll
Okay.
finish this up and get it either in there or to you.
What
In
is
the
that?
Dropbox.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
one way or the other.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll get it to you, so that
And
it's in
so
there
Ellie asked
when
what
you're
that
able.
is.
Yeah, what is this?
This is that section that I volunteered for. I don't have the outline. It was called setting and significance.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It was setting and then significance or something like that.
Yeah,
Over here. Introduction, setting and history, and then the local green, local historic, well, beginnings.
Okay,
Well,
so kind
beginnings of us in the outline.
Of why we're here. Those beginnings or beginnings of the area?
the area. Right?
Sorry.
Is it history of the area or why this committee was?
No, it's not why the committee's here.
Okay.
No, it's
Just
history
checking.
area.
Okay. All right.
And then
So
you were
that's-
doing that one underneath
Mhm.
me, yeah.
Yeah, the pressure of,
Right, the why, kind of.
yeah, the why,
Why we're here.
right.
And we split that up. I did the first one and she wrote.
Okay, so that was the next thing on our minutes from last time is, yeah, the creation study committee. I'm pretty sure that was on the Dropbox, right? There was a section about that you'd written and I put it on it. Yeah, just checking. Cool. Okay, so we've got our sections. And then here, okay. I combined the sections, then initial drafting complete, then we gotta add citations, folks.
Yeah,
Gotta
that's
add
the whole thing.
citations.
That's,
Oh, I know.
that's,
That's
a big
that's
deal.
why this is taking as long
Okay.
as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I
there is-
had the information, but I didn't write down
Have
where
to
it
do
came
it.
from.
I believe you.
I know, not fun. So
Yeah.
there is a document, it's only got one in it right now, but there is a bibliography, working bibliography under the study plan section, it's its own document. It also has a link there to the Chicago Style Manual, in
Yeah,
case you need
I
to
do,
look up.
yeah,
Me too.
I
I
do.
always pull it up
yeah,
and
I do.
to remind myself how to cite and
Yeah,
that.
what
so.
I will probably do instead of getting all these, let's see what survives the edit.
Yeah, yes,
And
that's probably a good.
because
idea.
the reference is here, but I haven't written up like a
And
bibliography.
if, yeah, and if you have the references, like we'll have a, like major works, you don't have to put every, what is it called? Not a working bibliography, but like major citations at the end of the report. It means that there are obviously some things that we don't, like the little nitty gritty, every little detail doesn't need to be accounted for, but these are the major works that we cited. So we could, throw in those, just anything you looked at, cite it, put it in the bibliography.
Because a lot of the photographs that Lon has are from the Museum of Old Newbury,
That's it, that's. a
from their
citation.
collection,
That's a citation.
yeah.
You just cite the museum.
Okay.
You don't have to figure out where they got it from.
Okay.
Or how we got it.
No. If they really want
I've
that,
got
they
it.
can go to the museum. of
I'm
Old
okay
Newbury.
because the person that stole most of them is not with us any longer, so we're golden.
Don't say that. What do you mean?
Stole.
What do you mean?
What?
I mean, I'm sorry.
When did they open access?
Acquired. No, I don't
Public record?
know. I don't know where they came from. But
Yeah.
they were on their 1635.
And if you don't know,
website.
that's a totally valid citation too.
Well,
Photo
obviously,
of-
they're not fake photos, so.
And you just say author unknown,
Unknown,
Yeah.
okay.
especially for photos.
Like who took the pictures from
Yeah,
Old Town
yeah,
Hill
like,
of
you're right.
the
That
whole
is- That's
scene?
nothing we need to sweat about.
Right.
It's just where did you find the photograph? If it was frame houses of the 17th century, you're
Yeah.
like, cool, that's where I grabbed it from. That's it.
Okay.
And you can see that a lot of other photographs that we've acquired were taken by the same guy or taken
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
when you look at features on the green from the picture
Oh,
way
yeah.
back, you can see these things that are holding up these newly planted trees,
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
the same, and you can
Right,
see
right,
this
right.
tree
You can
from
time
a
it.
different angle, and you can, yeah. So,
Okay.
same guy.
Okay, that's good.
So Lon, have you, the photographs or historic photographs and maps that you have, are those on the Dropbox now?
I dropped, yeah, a long time ago.
They're-
Just checking.
They're down at the bottom, they're in a weird place.
Oops,
Well, no,
It's-
because they came in as a folder.
yeah.
And what I do is I sort by date,
Yeah,
and then way down at the bottom, there's a folder of the photos.
So-
And that's
Same
where they
date.
are, do you see it?
under historic resources.
Yeah,
And then there's the photos folder. Is it
yes.
underneath there or is that?
That's the photos
Oh,
folder.
no, yeah, there's another folder in there.
Yeah.
Photos and maps, LEH.
Yes.
Yep, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I was just checking, I wanted to check these things off of our to-do
I
list.
just went into my computer, hit copy, and hit paste, and dragged it over, so it's
Wonderful.
everything in
Thank
there,
you.
yeah.
Um,
Some of it's useful, some isn't.
Yeah,
yeah, okay, cool. So, the Newman Pastures historical sign, has that been corroborated?
the Newman Pastures.
I went to it and I looked, and I don't see anything there about underground railroad.
Okay,
There's nothing mentioned at all on that topic.
okay.
And.
So, it doesn't need to be corroborated.
So, well, because I read it before.
Yeah.
And I didn't remember anything like that.
Okay,
And I went back and looked again, unless I can't read, it's just not there. But, so I did a bunch of research on that to see what there is, and just it seemed like Newbury was the center of that. In fact, Dole, down in the Dole Little House, was the largest slave owner. And my guess, and they were sneaking the stories, they're sneaking them off the ferry, hiding them underneath the stuff in the wagons, and then they're gonna take them up to a safe house, but there were some concerns, and so sometimes they took them all the way into Newburyport to a plumber home there. So but I didn't see anything about any waste stops or anybody's name from Newbury or the Lower Green area. So I
Okay.
did a bunch of research on that.
wonderful, thank you. That's, I mean, it's very common, I think in every town I have ever talked to anyone about their home, something is mentioned about, oh, yes, this was a stop on the new,
Right,
on the
right.
Underground Railroad.
Right.
So we all have liked to have been part of that story, but it's not as
Yeah,
common as
and
you.
certainly not my house, because this
Yeah.
is, right, that's where we were keeping them. Well, and I don't know that my house did that, but
Okay.
certainly the Dole Little House, which was the house at the time.
Awesome, all right.
But my house was standing back in that era.
Fantastic, okay. Next.
And that was Richard Dole, that was the largest, not Nathaniel from the mid-1800s.
Right, okay, so the last bit was just we still need a history of the Lower Green in the around 19th century. So that would be the 1830s Greek revival through the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, let's put it
When
that
did you
way.
start Greek Revival?
1830,
Okay.
circa 1830.
We did that at 1824 with the Historic Commission, that's where we came up with our date for the building. So
Okay.
1830,
I mean, it's, right, it's not
somewhere in there.
then, yeah, it's
Oh,
it's
okay.
around then, it's,
Okay.
okay. Okay. Photos are cool, I can delete this section. Okay, so then, are we ready to look at some photos of the properties regarding the boundary? The three of us were the ones who went on and actually looked at the map, so
Yeah,
it's good that we are here.
so we're gonna look at,
If that's-
we're gonna look
all right.
at photos of the properties.
The current properties,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
just that we're on the same page about why we think certain properties fit into the narrative and why we think certain do not. So,
Yeah,
well,
and some of them are by architecture and some are by location.
and some are by social history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And right.
So, yes. All right. Let's just make this bigger. All right. So, you guys probably have this on printout, but this is the map
I didn't
of,
see it,
and it's all right. That's why it's on the screen as well.
Oh, we got more
So
than one copy.
This is a tax assessor map of the area in question. All of the properties are those that we looked at. So this is the study area.
This one has the names on it,
Oh,
like that up there.
Oh,
The
okay.
one that you're holding does not.
I'll look up when I need
Yeah,
it.
okay, all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so I added the addresses of the ones in yellow and green. So green are the ones that we all agreed we thought were significant and should be included in the local historic district for historical reasons. The yellow ones are ones that we didn't quite agree on, so for up for discussion. And the red ones are ones that we all agreed did not warrant inclusion for one reason or another in the local historic district, whether it was because of proximity. Again, we included a number that were just adjacent to potentially significant properties, so it was a cloud. Or owners having strong objections to being included or other such reasons. So that is what this map is. Then I'm going from bottom left on the screen, so 282 High Street, and we'll go up High Road, not High Street, up High Road and then back down the other side, so
Okay.
just to orient. Also, I have not included any of the red properties. This is just about greens
Yeah.
and yellows. So this is the ferryman's house, ferry house,
Yeah,
which we all agreed on.
In some places it's the toll house, in some places it's the ferry house, so.
because you paid a toll for the ferryman
Right.
to cross the river,
Right.
so and it was also a tavern where you could stop for a drink while you waited for the ferryman to come back, or stay in the inn.
Oh, really?
So,
That I didn't know.
That's why there were rooms upstairs for a nap, a kip, or I also served alcohol.
I'll be there.
so 282 is not that one.
No, that's
Okay.
coming next. So again, I went up High Road, which there's a little sliver.
It's a little box.
It's coming,
yeah.
it's coming, yep. So 286, which we agreed. 284, this one, Robin mentioned today, so this is actually built in 1912, so this is a more modern house. And because of that, Robin has argued that maybe it does not warrant inclusion. So this one was green and now is yellow, so I just want we can come back to this one.
Yeah,
It's
because the question is, do we want to protect the property?
Right, and its proximity so anyway, so that one's in yellow. 282 is the other one, so this one is that large property that abuts the river.
That's the, yeah.
It is wetland, and so I actually don't necessarily think it needs to be included, but it can.
There is a building site up on the top.
It's a
You
very,
can't get to it very well.
very
You'd
small
have to
one.
build a bridge across the gully
well,
to get up to it.
so not only that, but I know this because of work with adjacent properties, but the wetlands are, you cannot build within a buffer zone of the wetlands and
Ah, that
conservation
might
areas.
stop it.
So it, even the other properties adjacent to this have a really, really hard time building
Okay.
or expanding. So I don't think there's huge development pressure with this one. However, there is historical, social history relating Lower Green to the river, and so I can see how you would argue that could be included in a historic district based on connecting the Lower Green to the river.
Yeah.
So that one,
So that's the one where I did put yes.
Yes.
Just simply because I see someone coming along and looking at the 284 High Road and combining it with 282 High Road to create a larger, pardon?
Oh, yeah, I
You
said
know what I
that's,
mean?
that's interesting, yes.
so
You know
they
what I
mean?
could, but that wouldn't make it more developable. It still cannot be developed, most of it cannot be developed.
Well, it can't
along
be developed
High
now
Road.
because it doesn't have the frontage.
Not
But-
just the frontage,
But if
almost
you
the-
combine it, it would.
Almost the entire property is wetland.
So I'm just gonna show you this part. So here, there, the
Mhm.
sliver of the land.
Yep.
If they combined all of that, that would be developable.
Yes, that is a teeny tiny
I
little
know,
bit of
I
land.
know,
though.
but,
So this, nothing basically west of here
No.
can be developed.
no,
West of this, not even that section, I would be surprised if that could be. Meaning this probably not, it's in the floodplain, this isn't definitely in the floodplain, and it's protected because wetlands are protected.
And that little
Can't get
strip,
developed.
I've walked that. I'm through
Yeah.
that whole thing surveying.
No, I'm sure you could,
Surveying the green portion of it,
Yeah.
and there's nothing you could do there.
right,
Because it
so,
almost immediately goes down into bush.
so,
And then it's
Yeah.
probably 70 feet of wetland. And
and you
then it
can't
goes
build
up like
within,
this, it
it's
goes up
something
like this then.
50 feet within a wetland boundary
Yeah.
or something. So oftentimes that crosses these property boundaries. So I don't think that that's necessarily what we need to discuss in terms of including or not including this property.
Okay.
Does it make sense to include it for the history and the story that we're
Okay.
telling about the lower
all
ground?
right, all right.
And that I'm I can be persuaded either way. I think that whatever we decide for this property would maybe be the same for this property. That's the town dock. Also not gonna probably be developed, right? It used to be the same parcel as the Dolittle house. These used to be the same. And then I had imagined in 74, 77, it was subdivided when Florence Bushy Evans gave the property to Historic New England. So, but again, if we're talking about the story of Lower Green with respect to Parker River, then if one of those is included, I think probably both of them should.
Well, and it fits
Right.
the early definition we had, which was protecting the lower green and approaches to it.
Right, but I mean, you could
Right.
still put a boundary where the green is and talk
Yeah.
about the approaches to it, right? It's more of, is it important to physically connect the Lower Green to the river for our narrative, for the narrative of Lower Green? I'm asking that question,
Doesn't
I'm
matter.
genuinely asking that question.
Is it?
In my mind it is, but I'll go,
Oh, okay.
this is a democracy,
No.
you know?
Well-
I mean, there used to be, so for example, there used to be a pavilion here.
Right,
So that was
Right.
not town-owned, that was privately
Right
owned.
there,
Yep.
yeah.
So I don't know how it's written up in terms of property, like, can the town declare it surplus and all of a sudden sell it?
I'm sure they can.
I'm sure they probably could. Have you ever, theoretically, yes, it could happen. If I'm looking at it from a possibility wise, I'm gonna say
That's
probably
interesting.
not,
So,
because
I
that's
I was
where all-
talking about the left side, but you're
all
talking
the-
about the right side.
But we're
Yeah.
talking about them both together because they kind of tell the same story. I don't think either of them is likely to be developed, because again, that's where everyone launches their boats. I think they'd be pretty mad if the town decided to sell them.
Well, yes and no, because on the other side of the river, there are two big marinas.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, that could be very lucrative for the town. If there were pressure put on the town,
Okay.
Most, all we have to do is talk to the selectmen on that.
Well, I mean, but that's a now versus,
Initially.
these is a perpetual thing, right? So it doesn't necessarily, what one selectman today would say, what doesn't necessarily mean that they will say the same thing in 20 years.
Yeah.
true.
So, right, so that's.
Well,
that's
but if they
that makes
agree to
sense.
be in the zone, in the local historic district, they've made a commitment. Once they said, yeah, put us in,
Oh,
they can't later say, oh, never mind.
no, that's true. Once,
See, one of
So
the
the
main
guys, the
reasons.
people that are there now, we can actually say, yeah, go ahead.
yes, no, in that regard, you're correct, yeah.
So in one of the main reasons, as I understand it, to protect the lower green area is because actually the lower green itself could be declared surplus and be built on.
Yeah.
Right.
So in terms of that piece of land, in 100, 200, 300 years, gee, you know,
Could probably get the water.
you know what I mean?
Yes, yes, yes.
Well,
yes.
I mean, if I was sitting up here as a select person and someone came in and said, we'd like to buy that piece of property, my first argument would be,
How much?
Newbury people, citizens, can use our boat ramp. So they haven't lost anything, is what I'm getting at. Right now, that's our access to the Parker River, right, for the town. Okay, so the marina people that might want to buy it could offer that. or something, who knows, I don't know. But I can see your idea of developing that.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of pull us back a little bit
Yeah,
to,
go ahead.
to
Yeah,
to
go ahead.
the topic here.
Yep.
If we include those two properties, which I think there is an argument to do so, we need to make sure in our historical narrative that we make it important that the lower green is connected, that the district is connected to the river.
Well.
That is important
right.
for the indigenous habitation, certainly, but important, we need to just make sure it's very clear why the first European settlers settled here had to do with the river. Is that the
And
case?
originally, the
Yes.
lower green,
Yes.
Then yes.
Okay.
originally, the lower green went to the river.
There we go, see, and that's would be important to
original
include, and I
lower
think that is a really good
Yeah.
reason to.
The
to-
toll
to
house
argue
wasn't
that these
there,
two
the
should
ferry
be-
house.
Should be included. Okay, see, that's why we're just discussing these yellows,
Yeah.
is to make an argument to or for, and I will change my vote to yes.
Okay.
One, two, how do you feel
I
about
was
that?
okay either way with it, but your argument that would make a great marina, right, and the
Marina.
town owns it or whatever, and,
Mega mansion,
yeah,
whatever.
or, yeah.
Okay, have you written those two down? So would you please write those two down?
Certainly.
289 and 282,
Yeah.
high for yes. So I don't have to change this.
Okay.
Okay, so, fantastic, so that's that one. 280, and I'm keeping the greens in here just so that we continue to have a cohesive idea of what the district would look like from an architectural standpoint. So 280, which is on lower green, is yes. Have
yes,
these
for sure.
owners been personally reached out to?
The original people that came in and said yes.
Okay, okay.
And,
Very
but
first
also,
meeting.
aren't there easements on their property?
Well, there's
Oh, I'm sorry,
there's a
for
restriction
interjecting.
on the home, and there's an easement on the 5 acres in the back,
Okay,
both.
okay, because this, yeah, this one has
Trustees own them all.
big land.
They hold it. Yeah, there's
Okay.
5 acres in the back that has to
Yeah.
remain farmland, or they could put a barn on it.
Fantastic, okay, so,
Can't be
also,
subdivided, though.
just to, as we go here, have the current owners of 284 High Road been personally approached?
No,
Okay, and then
not that I know.
Robin did say he was meeting with the owners of 286, hopefully this week, to discuss it, to raise this point.
Which one is that?
The one on
That's this one.
this one, 286.
This, right, we're
Yeah.
going over with them, actually.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay, 289, okay, yeah, go ahead.
thank you. So then we have 13R Newman Road.
Now,
What's that?
This is the owned by Essex
Green-
County Greenbelt,
Greenbelt.
which
Oh,
is
the
a yes.
Greenbelt.
Yep.
And Greenbelt, Lon, can you give us an update on your Greenbelt meeting?
The Greenbelt meetings, the departing president said yes, and the person that's taking over said yes.
Fantastic.
And Dave Rimmer said yes,
Yes.
he's the guy in charge of their properties. And
I
I've got an email, I didn't think it was necessary for them to send us a separate letter.
yeah, no, that's totally
No,
fine, as
but
long as
they-
they're aware and kind of.
But
on board.
politically, they will not send a letter of support
Okay,
for it.
that's fine.
But they
I
have no
understand
problem
that.
being in, so, yeah.
Yeah, it's, okay. So then 260, I'm sorry, Google Maps, I could not get a good view of the green, so 260, just so you know, is the green, the lower green. That's what the street view is showing.
So, yes.
Yeah, the town owned, they obviously know. 7 Lower Green is a yes as well, and this owner has been approached and is on board, from my understanding. 10 Newman Road
He
is
was in the original
trustees.
meetings.
Okay, okay. 10 Newman Road is owned by trustees, they are aware of this. Have we actually received
Which
correspondence
one
from
is
them?
that?
So 10 Newman Road is the big parcel, it's the,
Oh, the hillside.
yeah, it's
I got
this
it.
guy.
Okay.
I do not believe that Robin has heard from them yet.
Okay, I am not surprised, I very much doubt they would oppose
That's the
something.
trustees?
Yeah, I don't think they would support, just like Essex County, it's kind of, we tend not to as nonprofits, unless we absolutely have to for advocacy reasons, but I have also not been able to get responses from them and other things, so I'm not too worried about us not hearing from them.
Okay.
Yeah, it took us a long time to
Yeah.
get to get the environmental easement on that 5 acres.
Yeah,
And we had to, yeah.
Okay,
We had to do a lot of legwork
8,
to get them to go ahead and finally agree to that.
okay.
But they did, so I give them credit for that.
Yeah. 8 Newman Road is also owned by the trustees, correct? Yeah. It's the other.
Which one is it?
It's the one right next to it, it's this guy.
Oh, one, now we got it.
So I think, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
It's also, there's nothing on it and it's under conservation
Yeah.
restriction and all that. So anyway, that one's, a yes, we agreed, because of the historical, because of the indigenous history, which is up for debate, but we know they were in this area. And
Yeah.
because it abuts Lower Green, I think it's important to include it.
Yeah, in fact, we've
There's no
got,
harm in
we
it.
got the name of that. I asked Rich to put that in the write-up.
Okay.
They're a part of the Algonquin language people, but they were, the different settlements had different names.
Yep.
There
This,
starts with a K, I think.
this is also the 10 Newman Road, so we'll call it Old Town Hill.
Yes.
Old Town Hill is mentioned in Bethany's book,
Yep.
Brief History of Old Newbury, as being a lookout point for indigenous tribes.
Okay, so yeah, so there is historical, cultural significance as well as,
But like, shall I mention and cite her book?
yes,
In,
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
all
and
right.
cite her
Yeah,
book,
okay,
yep, and
all right.
that's perfect.
Okay.
Okay, so that's 8. Then we have 6 Newman Road, which of course this owner knows, this owner is on the committee, and is on board. 2 Newman Road is,
Oh, that's
A barn.
John's,
Yeah.
yeah,
Now that, oh, and is that a separate parcel?
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
yes, it is a
He,
separate
he
parcel.
owns it, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
But he
Yeah.
didn't combine the two.
He had to rebuy it,
Right.
yeah, but I don't think it's combined.
Okay.
With which property?
The one in back of it,
This
that one.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
I
the
was
same
He owns
owner.
both of them, but they're
okay,
separate
it
properties.
Yeah.
seemed an interesting thing that they were different parcels, I was
Yeah.
wondering about that.
Yeah,
Has this owner,
yes.
are they aware of, are they?
Yes,
Okay.
he's totally on
Yeah.
board. So,
Fantastic.
the reason that those two were separate is because, there was a person down the road that bought that barn, that 2 Newman Road, and he had a shop there. Like
Oh,
an
I think I remember
antique
seeing
shop.
that in
Yeah.
an old,
Right.
yeah, Google map, thanks.
And
Street
he,
views.
when he passed away, the owner of the house next door, John Siemens, that house, 258, bought that parcel with
Okay.
the barn,
Okay.
and now it's a gallery, but he
Gotcha. Oh,
completely
lovely.
restored it, it's
Cool.
beautiful.
Okay.
I love barns
Beautiful.
turned into art galleries,
It's
we've been,
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Sculptures
there's a really
and
great one
stuff.
in Acton, Massachusetts as well. Anyway, okay, so fantastic, that's good, and we all agreed that this one is lovely.
Yeah.
256 is undeveloped parcel.
John
He
owns
also
that
owns
as
that.
well.
Oh,
Yeah, John
marvelous.
owns that as
I was
well.
wondering
Yeah.
about
So we
that
know
one was
that's
a little
it.
bit,
Yeah.
yes, fantastic, that's good, because I think this one would be
Yeah,
a possibly
Certainly a building site.
prime developed, and it is
Yeah.
developable, and that's not to say that it cannot be developed.
No.
yeah,
We just would
Just
love
don't
a
put
little
a
bit of
three-story
oversight
stucco house there.
on,
Right.
on
Yeah.
its design. 254 High Road next door, I don't think we agree on.
no, that's brand new,
I agree, I think that this honestly might be for me the northern boundary on the west side,
yes,
on the west side of High Road. Now, I know
Yes.
we don't agree on this,
Mhm.
but none of the rest of these houses are old, and a number of them are very altered and do not fit in with the time period being
Oh,
protected
of course.
anyway. So I think that our success in creating a local historic district is going to rest pretty heavily on being very precise as to why our boundaries are chosen. And I think that
I
it
agree
means
with you on
making
that.
some cuts on
So then
what
the
we-
approach stops at John's property.
It's a short
I
approach.
mean,
It's a short approach.
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
I agree.
And so, because if we go through the 252, I don't see any reason to protect this house. I'm not saying that it's not an interesting house, or I'm not making an aesthetic
No,
judgment
it's
on it.
lovely, yeah,
But from a
No.
historically significant point of view, it is
No.
not historically significant to Lower Green.
no,
Same with this one. This picture's pulled from the tax assessor's map. I do not know how old it is, but I cannot get a street view image of it. That very clearly 2000s.
Yeah, and it's off the road anyway.
yeah, no,
Right, and so, yeah, it's not viewable from a public way, so it wouldn't be protected anyway.
And nobody's gonna buy that and put a gigantic
Well,
mansion
and
back in there.
They could,
But
and
they-
it wouldn't affect the
But
area.
they
Yeah.
wouldn't they wouldn't do it.
Okay.
Right, I wouldn't.
They could though. This one, so
Yeah.
this one is a little bit older, still 20th century, it's a little modern cape.
no.
I think it's cute, but I don't think
No.
it should be included for the same reasons that the others are and for
How
communism.
big is that, do you know how big that land parcel is?
It's very small. It's very, it's tiny.
This guy.
It's
Okay,
a little
so there won't be
tiny,
anything
yeah.
crazy there.
No.
Okay, good.
And then this guy, same thing. Now this is also a modern cape. Honestly, I think it's a rather cute house,
It is,
personally.
yeah,
I think it does a very nice job of harking back to historic, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
historic New England vernacular architecture.
yeah,
But it is very new,
no.
and I don't see a need to. Then there's this guy. So
So,
the barn is old.
yeah,
The other building is clearly not. The well, it was originally a barn on the right. It looks like it was originally a barn and then it's now
No.
a house.
no, it's a house.
Yeah, it's a house now.
Oh, it was a barn?
I don't know,
That
it
was-
uses a barn to me, I'm just making that up, just throwing it out there. I've not been to this property, I do not know, but it
Oh,
reads to me as a
no.
barn that was changed into a house.
No, it's not, it was, it's a house.
Okay,
But it's probably early 20th century.
there's a date, I can exit out of this and pull up my, our survey,
That's okay.
yeah, that thing, you have it. There is a date on it. This is 240.
And that-
Colonial
and
revival.
that's a big piece of property, right?
It is a big piece of
Yeah,
property.
that's very good.
It's a very big piece of property.
Yeah.
Oh, 19,
So
yeah,
that-
1900.
So that,
Yeah.
so,
So
so,
this
yeah.
guy was built 1900, yeah, colonial revival.
Yeah, it's in horrible shape. The owners have passed away. It's now owned by their granddaughter. But it's a huge piece of property.
Yeah.
So the reasons I don't necessarily think it needs to be protected in this local historic district. It is developable,
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but if we're not protecting the 5 properties to the south on the approach to the
Yeah.
lower green,
yeah,
what is the argument to protect this
Yeah.
one? The only argument I can see is that it surrounds the burial ground of the first settlers.
Right.
This is a protected property and will be, if it's written how it is, a non-contiguous addition to the local historic district because of its historic significance,
Yeah.
then I don't necessarily feel
Yeah,
that the
okay.
rest of the property
I
should
agree,
be
I
protected.
agree. All right, I agree. I think I was just being
You want to.
anti-development.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
It's
you
hard
know,
to.
we actually we
You
need,
need
I
housing,
mean,
you need,
if there
and
were
it can be done
a,
well.
a tiny house community that went in there, I would be all for it,
Okay,
you know,
we
I'd be like all for it, but.
Yeah, and these boundaries will be respected, and this house, as
Okay.
we've discussed, is already right on that boundary.
Yeah.
So it can't get
Yeah,
worse than that. And this one's grandfathered in, right? So any new development would
Right.
have to be pulled back from
yeah,
the respectable property boundary distances
yeah.
for development anyway. So that's why I was
Okay.
voting no
Is
for
there
that.
All right.
any restriction on what they can do around the burial ground on that property? Or can they literally build right up to the fence?
No. They have to, that's what I mean by there's setback requirements for property boundary setbacks, and that does.
So
will apply
just
to
a normal setback?
I don't know what that is. I also.
Probably 15 feet, so.
Well, the other question for that is, they would have to probably confirm this, that all the burials are within that boundary.
Yeah,
But that's on them to discuss with the town, but if there are potential for burials being outside of where the fence or where the stone walls are, they can't touch those.
I've never read anything on why they stopped using that as the burial ground and went and put in evergreen.
Well, it's teeny, right? I mean,
No,
it's
that used to
relatively.
be right next to, they think it used
Well-
to be next to the common house, or whatever they called it.
oh, yeah, like the church.
The
or
church,
whatever,
the
Yeah,
original church
But-
might have been that far north, off of the
yeah,
green.
but then they moved to the upper green in 1646, I believe.
Mhm.
And that's where that big cemetery
So-
is,
yeah,
across
right.
from,
So when that,
So-
when that went away and moved, they stopped using it, but the people down in the, down around the lower green said, we want a cemetery. Maybe that's when they went to the evergreen. I don't know, I've never, I'm gonna give you a book. You're
I'll read
gonna,
it.
you're gonna
and I'm
read
gonna read it.
it. Okay.
Well, at least maybe the first chapter.
What's that? It's mostly
Executive
names.
summary.
Yeah, exactly. Give me the cliff notes.
Okay,
version.
I agree with you on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was holding out, but I think it
Me
was
too.
just because I'm like, anti-development.
And it's
Because
understandable.
then I almost question, why are we protecting the burial ground?
Well, no. we
Because
have-
it is
yeah.
significant to the
That is
story of the lower
significant.
green. Right? It's significant to
Oh,
the story
because
of the
it's
lower.
Yeah.
part of the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's non-contiguous, that's okay, and it
Yeah.
is obviously not gonna be developed, so it's
Okay.
just for the story. Yeah, there's no development pressure on the cemetery, on the
Okay.
That's what I mean,
burial ground.
right.
We can't
That's
do
what I mean,
that.
it's, nobody's gonna build there.
Yeah.
You know, they tried that in Poltergeist. It doesn't-
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
I remember what happens. Okay, now we're hopping over to the other side of High Road so this is called Zero Cottage Road. That is the legal address. There are 2 Zero Cottage Roads. That is because Newbury, as an assessor's map, has to have an address for the properties. That is just what this parcel owned by the
Yeah.
trustees is called.
Oh, you know why? Because there's a little monument there.
It doesn't, well, no, see, there's another one. This is
this-
also Zero Cottage Road, in the red down here, this guy.
Oh, I'm in the wrong place.
So this, the yellow up top, the one that looks kind of like
Oh,
Arkansas.
that's,
Okay.
And then this guy are also Zero Cottage Road, because they just have to put something on the assessor's tax map. They have to have a legal address for fire reasons or other things.
yeah, this is undevelopable because it has no frontage on a road.
Yeah, and that's why we all agreed that it's not.
Wait, that's not Cottage Road.
Yeah, I know. But its address on the tax
No,
map of
this is-
Newbury
this
is
is
Zero
Cottage
Cottage
Road.
Road.
This is,
Oh, that's
this is Cottage Road.
Oh. Yeah,
That's what I mean.
okay.
There are 2
It's zero because it's only got like 25 feet on
There
on
is space
Cottage
there.
Road.
2 Zero
Yeah.
Cottage Roads.
That's right, I see what you
Okay,
mean.
so that's what I mean by this guy. This is the yellow Arkansas shaped trustees of the reservation property. I don't know why it needs to be included.
No,
It's not gonna be
Which
developed.
one?
This one.
That, okay, that.
It can be connected, but does it play to the story of the Lower Green?
no.
Okay, I know what there is. Okay, I know what it is.
And
This is,
Protected under conservation
right.
restrictions, so.
but it's owned by trustees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't
No.
think that one needed to be
No.
protected the same way that I do
Yeah.
think these do, because they
Okay.
relate to
And
the
I don't,
story of
as
the
far as
area.
history goes, I don't know of any history back
Right.
there.
Okay, so cool, that one's a no.
Okay.
Are you, okay, are you making notes on the map for these?
I
You are, okay, thank you. I'm
Yeah.
really hoping I remember this, but, who knows? Okay, so then we have 267 High Road. This guy,
That's the little one.
that is.
Oh, no,
that's,
Yes.
so that was a barn.
Oh, yeah.
They have added, they have added to the back of it.
So it is unidentifiable.
Yes.
It is a barn, very modern fenestration,
Yes.
not a historical pattern, new
Yeah.
siding, new windows, new
Yeah.
roof, obviously. The
Yeah.
addition off the back with very long shed dormers attached.
Yeah,
I don't see any historical
Okay.
significance, and to be perfectly frank, I don't know how this can be developed anymore.
okay.
And which one is that? Just to make sure I know. That's this one.
This one,
That's this-
yellow.
This thing, a little, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's next to a red one, that's what I'm getting
Yeah,
at.
yes.
So we're not starting to look like a checkerboard, okay?
Right.
This is good. So we're
Right.
saying,
We're-
we're
yeah,
basically
we're
saying,
trying to
when are
make
we gonna
it
start?
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
That's what we're trying to
I'm
figure out,
okay
and
with
I didn't think this was a good compelling one
Yeah.
to start with.
Um,
This one, 269, we all agreed was
Yeah,
a good
that's
one to start with.
beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a beautiful. one.
Have these owners been
Yes,
personally reached out to?
yes.
Okay,
That's,
okay.
Robin has reached out to them.
Okay.
That's all I wanted to
That's,
check, is
John,
that-
Farrar.
no one was gonna
Farrar,
be
I believe.
blindsided.
No,
Okay. Okay. 273, this one is yellow just because Robin has not yet talked to these owners.
Which one?
273, 273, that guy.
Where is it on there?
It
so
is
that's a
green.
Greek
It's
revival.
green.
But I put it yellow just because of Robin's email this afternoon. I wanted to make sure we were
Oh,
talking about it.
okay,
So we all
okay.
agree that historically it is a beautiful, wonderful building. It's just yellow because he hasn't had a chance to talk to
Okay.
the owners yet. So after he discusses with them and kind of talks to them, we will revisit this
Okay.
property.
Yeah, because I would, if that one's not green, the one next to it shouldn't be.
Well, let's talk about the next one.
But
275,
otherwise,
yeah.
well,
So 275, yes, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
These
They have been
owners-
approached,
Okay.
yes.
And so I think you're the one who emailed about including the center strips in the road. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So what we're seeing right now are just the parcels with land on them. When the full boundaries are drawn, it will cross High Road, so it will technically include High Road and all of the right-of-ways. Remember, there's a
Okay.
couple of monuments that we wanted to
Yeah.
include.
right.
Yeah.
So those will be included, and these will be included as well. They're just not separate parcels, so I didn't
Okay.
highlight them anyway, because they're
Okay.
technically the road.
Well, they
They will be
would,
But
protected.
that when,
Town.
Yes,
at
yes.
some point, we can do this. right?
Yes, that's what I'm
Around
hoping
the
to figure out
outside,
what our.
and
exa-
when we've
and
done
it's-
that, the
exactly.
road will be inside.
Yes, exactly. So I'm just trying to figure out where we cross the road and all that such. So yes, all right, wonderful. 275, yes. One Cottage Road, Jackson Willette House, yes.
Yes,
And
yes.
these, they know.
yes.
And then there's 2 parcels, so there's 3 Cottage Road, 5 Cottage Road next to it, which are undeveloped and also owned by the sons and daughters, I believe.
Okay,
So,
I don't think we've talked as sons and daughters, have we?
we have.
Yeah, we have.
We talked,
multiple
yeah,
times.
Bruce Ilsley, yeah.
Oh,
They,
okay.
they were at that
Okay.
Yeah,
information
they're all over
session,
it.
very,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
So they're well aware, and I think that
Wow.
those 2 properties would be really good to protect,
Yes.
because at some future time, it could be possible that they might want to be developed.
Yeah.
And if we can prevent what has happened on the south side of Cottage Road,
Yeah.
on the north side of Cottage
Right.
Road, I think that would be
Yeah.
really
You know,
important.
just, put houses there, not an issue, but
And
but not,
Right, right.
No,
And to
no.
connect them, to connect Jackson Willette with Evergreen.
Yeah.
So Evergreen is at the end of that road, and we all
Yeah.
agree it should be protected.
Yeah.
and they
Is it
want to be
still-
in it, too.
Yeah, is it still an active cemetery?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
I
yeah.
was just checking, just checking.
Yeah, and it's interesting because the very back is the oldest part, and then
Go
it's,
through a wrought iron fence
Yeah.
gate in the back,
Oh,
and that's
fantastic.
all the old stuff.
It's beautiful.
We might need to add something clause into the bylaw exempting stones, exempting monuments. They will not need to be reviewed by a local historic district. They should
Oh,
not have to be
okay,
reviewed by a
yeah.
local historic district,
Hope not.
right?
Yeah,
That
right.
seems kind of,
like
Yeah.
tombstones?
It's all stones, not tombstones now.
right, if people are still being
And they're
buried
still
there,
going in.
those are technically material changes to a protected property. So we need to just make sure that that's written in the bylaw, that those will not need to go before a local historic commission.
Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, I
That
see,
seems-
put it in the bylaw.
Yeah,
I've got
because
it.
that seems a little bit,
So here's a
disrespectful.
question for you. What about replacing old tombstones with modern ones like we'd have in the first settlers, where there's almost nothing left that's original? It's all been replaced.
good question.
Well, I mean, if we're not protecting the stones, then there's,
You're protecting existing stones. That's what we're protecting. We're protecting existing stones.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
saying
so
should
here-
not
so
be under the purview as
For
new
example,
stones.
it's Halloween, and 15 kids pull up and knock 10 of them over, break, so
That would be repair.
should we spend the money to
Well, you
to
can.
replace it and fix it?
Oh.
Or can we, are we okay with them throwing away the old ones?
Oh, God, no.
And,
no,
well,
no.
But that's what they've done on First Settlers. It's all new.
Really?
Well, yeah, they are new, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
a lot of them are new. Yeah,
Okay, maybe we should think a little
a
bit more
lot of them
about,
are slate.
so, okay.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between conserving existing stones,
Yeah,
and we're talking about stones that, I don't know what the proper term is, but don't have living descendants.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right, the stones that their upkeep and care is the responsibility of First Settlers, or is the responsibility of Evergreen or the town or whomever is taking care of the cemetery.
We should meet
There's a
with them and
difference
ask
between-
them they probably have some kind of protocol that they go by. This one is, there's nothing left of it and we want to replace it.
Well, there's
A lot of them are
standards.
just rocks. Like,
Right,
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. They're not
And,
gonna
like,
replace those because they would never
Putting in a new
replace them.
stone, that's fine, and repairing stones, that's been done.
Absolutely.
There's, certain guidelines that.
You gotta go to First Settlers to look at it.
Yeah,
They're
okay.
this thin, they're highly finished,
Beautiful.
they're simple.
Yeah.
Those wouldn't fit in the Evergreen.
Right,
They wouldn't look right. If they did what
well,
they did in the
maybe
First Settlers.
maybe in the old section.
yes,
Oh, yeah, the
So
old
the,
section.
so the old section is what would be protected,
Right.
What I'm saying we should not protect is new people who are buried, what their monuments
really?
look like.
right.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
Right.
so, yeah,
But we might want to put something in there. It'd be nice to meet with them and ask them.
Yeah. Well,
How
Robin
do you
has-
treat it when it's knocked over?
Robin has contact with them.
Yeah, but we don't want to
So,
write something in
Yeah,
the
and we
bylaw
don't-
that they're not going to agree with.
well, and we also don't wanna say what they have to do.
Right.
Right, it's more
No,
of,
it's-
if this is an occurrence that happens, this is the discussion.
What is your,
Well, their protocol
What
may
is
be
your
fine.
protocol?
We may be happy with it.
And it may change, or they may not have one. But
Oh,
it's more of what, as a committee, do we feel is important about protecting those stones? If they do come, if they're broken, or if they're graffitied, or if they're worn down to the point where you can't read them anymore, what do we feel is important historically for to happen to those stones? And from a preservation standpoint, from an archaeological standpoint, there are 2 options. There are 3 options. You can leave them as is. You can leave them as is and add a new one, but keep the old stones. You often see them maybe lined up on the edge. So they're still there, but there's a new marker for the grave. But the old stone is still on premises.
Oh.
Or you can repair old stones depending on what
Yeah.
they're made of. Some are easier, slate's not, I don't think as easy to repair, but like you can repair ones. And that's the most expensive. You can clean them and repair them, but that's another option.
Yeah.
So those are a couple.
I was on
we've
a
seen
board for a cemetery for 20 years.
So-
And so I know how often they get kicked over and
Yeah,
and
it's
get
really
raided.
sad.
So,
But just saying that those are okay.
Yeah.
That's
so
an okay thing to do.
do we need to reach out to the sons and daughters and ask what their protocol is? What are we getting at here?
So I don't think so.
No?
What I think we need to do is, one, I would like to see if there's any other examples in Massachusetts, local historic districts that protect cemeteries, and if they've added any detailed language in their bylaws. I think that would be good to know.
Okay.
And then two, no, that's kind of, that's step one, that's it.
You know who would be good with that is Key Woodward in Newburyport. She repairs the stone, she gives tiptoe through the
Yeah, right, to
tombstones.
tombstones, right.
Yeah, she's very involved.
Do you know
Yeah.
her?
I don't
Just
know,
know
I
her.
just read about her in the paper. So I can ask her. I
Okay.
can ask
call
her.
Cal.
Okay, I still think we need, before we write anything, we want to talk to the owners of the,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
Of settlers? Haven't we been?
Just for settlers.
Robin has.
I was gonna say, I think we've
So-
been in
Is
contact.
that who owns that?
Yes,
First-
yeah.
The Evergreen too? I don't
No,
think so.
but I thought we sent a letter to them too.
It's too late on that for settlers when they've replaced everything.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
and that's
yeah.
okay, that's
Yeah.
what, then they're
And-
protecting
But
us.
it's consistent what they've done to replace it.
This-
So it's all, it all looks the same.
Yeah, and
If they do this over here, it's
Well,
not gonna look right.
remember, I guess, maintenance, the law states that maintenance and repair in kind does not need to be reviewed. So technically,
Okay,
that applies to stones too.
oh, all right,
Maintenance,
okay,
check, repair or replace in kind
okay,
does not require review.
okay,
So I guess technically, even replacement of stones, as long as they're replacing it with what's there.
okay.
Well,
Doesn't-
but that'd be fine if the replacement's there.
Now,
If they-
Evergreen,
If they
isn't
replace
that-
it with what's over the first settler's ground, it wouldn't be.
Well, but then that would require a review by the local historic commission.
Would it? Oh, we're gonna put that, words in that say that.
But that's what the law states. So
Oh, okay.
statutes
Well,
in
then we-
Massachusetts.
Then we should state what the law says.
Yeah, it
And then
says
it should be in the bylaw then.
Right, and so it doesn't necessarily mean we have to call out the cemetery's stones as being different, but
Yeah.
it states that any routine maintenance or replacing of with in-kind materials does not require
Yeah.
review by the local historic commission. So if they're just doing routine maintenance on the stones, that's fine.
Oh,
If
yeah.
they wanna take them all out and replace them with obelisks, that would need to go before the local historic
Okay.
commission,
Well, I'm
right?
working.
I mean, that's a very
The
huge.
ones that are in it are very, very modern.
Yeah, I'm
in the
taking a
first
very
settlers, in the
outlandish
first
example, but, okay, so I think we have our answer.
settlers. Okay.
But I still
So it's-
would
so-
love,
So allow me to put restrictions or
they're just.
discussion on
protected.
the old portion of the cemetery.
Yeah, the new
And we'll
stuff,
state the law.
we will add an exemption about the new section of the
Right.
cemetery. Yeah, I think that would be good, just from being a sympathetic here. I do think it would be, I'm gonna see if I can find a local historic district that does protect a cemetery, though I'd just be interested to see how they write about it.
Yeah.
There's gotta be one.
Yeah, because I was really shocked to find out how much damage somebody can do in one night in a cemetery.
Oh, I know, I
Yeah.
don't understand why we do that. Okay, can we move on from 9?
Yep.
All right, so then we hop, skip, and jump across a bunch of reds along the southern South Cottage Road, which has all been developed now, to 279 High Road, which this owner is present and definitely is going to be included in this.
Now,
district.
I have a clothesline there, as you can see, going from the house to the barn. I don't want any restrictions on that.
That
The
is
color,
I was just
the
gonna ask.
the color of my line, my laundry hanging, I want no restrictions on
That's a
that.
temporary softscape, so it doesn't
So,
follow.
It's
just to
actually
let you know,
permanent.
just to let you know, her neighbors think it is fantastic that she hangs her clothes out on a line. I think that is so cool.
I love it.
I'm her neighbor. so-
Yeah, I love it too. It's very vernacular.
Just, I think she's, yeah.
I would like to replace the door of the barn though, it's hideous.
Is it a big garage door?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hideous.
Wow, does it work
It's
really well? It looks
steel.
huge.
It's just,
Yeah.
yeah. It's-
On mine, I put these big sliding doors, 'cause
Yeah,
it's
that's
more
what I-
characteristic
Yeah.
of the issue.
Yeah.
You're
But
right.
then you have to get out and
Yeah.
open them.
well.
There are wooden doors that you
Not,
could do.
yeah, there are wooden doors, but
Yeah.
I've had people out to look at them and they said that they warp. The big barn doors, they warp.
They do, the ones on rollers you mean?
Like the ones that I
Yeah,
have?
they do eventually.
Like I have? Oh, I haven't warped in
They warp
17 years.
and rot.
They rot.
Yeah, they do that too. We can talk afterwards.
Yeah,
And the
They're
bats
out.
build
Yeah.
nests and they're
Um,
sliding.
Okay, 279 is a yes, 281 is a yes, sorry, I cannot get a good view of your house either from street view, there's trees in the way.
Oh, yeah.
So this one is also, we all
Yes.
agree, should be in the.
I've got pictures of the house in the
Oh, yeah, no,
fall.
no, these are all just from
With-
street view.
this is
We've
just
got-
for discussion.
Yeah, we've got other better photos, I just wanted to
Oh.
grab contemporary ones.
Yeah,
Then we have 285, which,
she says, okay.
okay, so that is right, thank you for reminding me which this property is. This is not an old property.
No,
It's
This
what?
is a very modern property.
it is.
Oh,
So,
right, but the,
I know the owner is okay, I had put a no for this one because of its historic asynchronicity.
Yes,
However, let's go through the rest of them because I think since we decided that our approach to the river was important, this would connect it, and since the owner is on board, I don't necessarily see a problem
Yeah.
with, like, anyway, so, coming back to
again,
this, just
I'm more
material.
worried that somebody.
Knocks it down and builds something
It's not big enough for somebody that buys it.
Yes, yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
And it's right
build a
next to.
bigger house,
right
just
next
don't
to this
build a
one.
bigger house.
Here, yeah, go
Wrong
buy
kind,
a bigger house.
Yeah.
So obviously, this one is on board.
Yeah.
To be fair, I haven't actually spoken to our site managers about this, but they know about this process, and obviously they've all told me to be here, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that Historic New England's on board with this. We're in a number of historic districts elsewhere, so I don't think that will propose an
don't
issue.
blindside them.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a yes.
And then we decided that 289 was going to be a yes as well, so
Yeah.
our approach to the river on both sides, so
Yeah.
we've kind of cut it down on the north, oh
Yeah.
here, this would help. We've cut it down on the north edge, the yellows on the north, we all agreed were no's.
Yes,
Those go red.
Yeah, those will go red, and then our approach to the river on the south will go green, and then
You know
we'll
what
do
that
all
means?
the reds.
Remember our original decision? Tory Lane?
yeah,
That's where it's gonna end up.
right.
Yep, well,
Once you
one-
make those
one
red
down
on the
from
left.
One down from
one
it.
down from it, but yeah.
Yeah, oh, but, okay, yeah.
Yeah, one down
I
from
got- I
it.
see. Good.
But that was what we had decided.
Which, I mean, this means that our research is, our decision, our justification is backed by social and architectural research.
Yes.
So,
Okay, well, that's a good point. That one house that we said no on is gonna go red, and it is this side of Tory.
Yeah,
yeah, the barn that just
and
is not a barn.
the monument is in the red part of Tory Lane.
Okay,
It's the other side.
it's the other side of the yellow.
Tory.
it's in the right of way though, right?
Oh, no,
No.
that's quite a ways back
Yeah,
from the road.
Okay.
yeah.
And what is it? What does it say?
It says, it was put in, I think, in the 30s, and it says, on this site, Francis Plummer had a tavern.
Oh, okay.
But I'll show you where it is on this map.
No, it's quite a
It's
ways
killing
back.
me. It's like right here.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it
Near
might
the
be
corner,
worth,
but in about, I'd say, at least 20 feet from the road, huh?
so what it might be worth, it probably won't be within our boundary because I expect that we will cross the road here
Yeah.
or here,
Yeah.
one of those. And so it might be worth that we call it out in
Like
like our
this.
architectural section.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if it'll be visible on the map because it's so small.
Yeah, it
But
is
we
small.
make
It's
sure we
just
have a
stone.
photo of it
Yeah.
and we describe where it is.
Yeah, it's just
I think that's all we can do.
Yeah.
Okay, that is
Good.
all
Yay.
of my that. Thank you very much. This was
Wow.
very helpful. I really wanted to get decisions made. so,
All right.
so thank you.
I think with the citizen survey, the neighborhood meetings, I think, can we do that for next our next meeting?
It depends on when our next meeting is.
Okay, all right.
So that was the thing I meant to print out and did not. I drafted a citizen survey, round 2.
Okay,
It looks very similar to the first one we did
yeah,
because we weren't able to really disseminate it very well. So I think that a lot of Newbury citizens, if we end up doing this mailer, which is what I hope we are able to do,
That'd be good.
won't have any idea that we have been doing this work, and I don't really want to blindside them with, hey, we're a thing, what do you think we should cover? So I've included a lot of the same questions.
so
as
I
before.
know a printer in Rowley that does what they call an EDD, an every door delivery.
Yeah,
And they do that. We give them something to print, and they use their own, we can use their nonprofit, or, are we a nonprofit because we're the town?
We're a
We're the town.
municipality,
yeah.
Municipality.
Oftentimes
Not a
they're-
nonprofit.
but
So what is that $800 from?
$800 was the mailing for making the.
From the
thing
town,
together.
from whom?
The town, from,
So where is that $800 coming from?
the town will give us $800. They
So the
voted
town will
that.
give
They
us,
voted
so whose stamp
Office?
will we use?
that. I don't know, the town must have one, or I don't know.
The municipality?
However they do it, however they do the
town of
process.
Newbury.
Okay, all right. Because this company that I know in Rowley, they do these every door deliveries. And they would be able to print out and get that mailed.
But if they're gonna mail it, and they're gonna reproduce it, and they're gonna do all that labor, it's gotta cost more than if we do the labor as volunteers, hand it to the town, and the town says, go do it.
Ah,
It's gotta be cheaper. We could get a bid,
okay,
but if you do that, you gotta get a bid.
yeah.
Well, we don't have, you actually gotta get 3
okay.
bids.
All right, ding, ding, ding,
And you need an
okay.
I can't
RFP.
unfortunately just
All right.
go for one.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, it
And
can't be cheaper.
Does the town have a printer? Does anyone know? We wouldn't know that.
Well,
They've got it, the county Minuteman.
100%.
At Minuteman?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So a printer, what we need, and I can't, remind me if this was covered in that budget talk, was to print the paper, it's 1-page survey, the envelope to send the survey, and a return envelope for them to mail back the survey,
Aha.
right?
Okay, hang on a minute, so that's
Yeah, that's
not
a
what
big
we
deal.
talked about.
Yeah, I
We
was
talked
thinking it
about
was a
sending out a
postcard.
postcard,
Yeah, I thought it was a postcard.
and they were gonna log in
Yeah, I thought it was just
Okay.
a postcard.
A postcard with the
with
QR
the
code.
Survey Monkey.
This
with
is-
a QR code or
Okay,
a
Yeah,
website.
and
do that.
also,
We can
and
do
also an FYI. You know what I mean? That
yeah,
this is
okay.
what we're doing.
And here are our town, or our neighborhood meeting dates.
Yeah,
Those on there.
that would be
We'll
good.
be meeting at Plum Island on this date.
As much as we
We'll
can
be
fit
meeting
into
at
one.
Lower Green on this date. We'll be meeting it if you want to come for an info session. I think that would be really great to put on there,
Yeah.
because should.
If it's something
Okay.
in an
Okay.
envelope with another envelope in that with another
Yeah, okay, this
thing,
is,
now it's 1,600.
right, okay, so that makes total sense. I think I love the green aspect, that there's less paper involved. We had worked on being able to do SurveyMonkey, which is awesome. If I can get access to a, premium account, we have unlimited responses. Fantastic, okay. That's great, I love this, that is great.
Yeah,
What's our next steps? How do we make this happen?
which part?
The-
The getting the
So,
survey out?
I have the survey. I
There we
can send
go.
it around. It is essentially done. It is, like I said, 1 page,
And
5
then,
questions.
and that will be on Survey Monkey or something, right?
Yeah, and so how do we,
And-
should I draft up what a postcard should look like? And,
That would be fine.
Do you
Yes.
have design experience?
I've had experience, so I can something up pretty quick.
Okay, so,
Just poke.
on one side, what we're, a picture of the Lower Green.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
then
what
it's
we're
like
looking to
the
protect,
address, the stamp,
know,
the return address, the QR code, and a couple words.
yeah, that kind of thing. Do you want to bring that draft to the next meeting, and then we can get it printed and sent out? And we could-
Or we could look at it online and we could vote at the next meeting. In
Yeah,
other words,
Yeah.
think it over.
yeah. Well,
So
that's,
so we don't
yeah,
have to make the
that's-
decision
yeah,
cold here.
that's actually
Yeah,
good,
right,
yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
I will do that,
Okay.
and we will kind of.
Now, here's a suggestion, if if we do this. So-
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to send this out to everybody in Newburyport that has a mailing address.
Newbury,
Newbury, I'm sorry, that has a.
and Byfield,
Okay.
and Plum Island.
A lot of those people aren't gonna know what a QR code is, and not gonna know what to do with it.
That's why I was
So,
afraid.
no. So you got a website, and you can go to that website,
Okay.
and the survey's there, and they
Okay,
can print it
so-
out,
Add
and
the,
fill it out and send it in. But they have to provide their own stamp. So just make a
okay,
provision for that.
easy enough. The website is the Town of Newbury's website.
Right.
It is our local historic district page, and I will make sure that a copy of the survey is on there.
Yeah, so I'm getting at is your little postcard.
A
Will say,
www.
yeah, go here, if you want to print out a hard copy of
Yeah.
the survey,
And
fill it
return
out
by
and send it
mail or
in to.
drop it in. Okay, that's easy
We'll
enough.
have to do some data entry then, if they
And
do that.
that's totally fine.
But
I'm
Why,
hoping we
why
just-
couldn't they do the survey online?
They can, but I do agree that I think some people will prefer to do it in hard copy and send it in, or
Okay.
won't be
Yeah.
comfortable doing it
I
online.
don't,
Okay,
you're potentially excluding a portion of the
Yeah.
population.
Yeah.
all right,
By forcing,
But-
especially the QR code.
okay. Yeah,
At the
yeah,
same
yeah.
time,
Yeah.
if it will, like, they can return it by email. If they want to go online, just pull it up,
Yes.
don't do the QR code, they can
Yes.
submit it to our
So-
email.
Okay,
have
So,
the email
okay.
address.
what I was
Okay.
getting at is you
I
need the
see.
QR code, you need the website, and you
Email,
need our
and then-
mailing
okay.
address.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
good.
Okay, so I will do that and send that around for approval. Yeah, okay.
Or just let us know when it's in, we'll go look.
The neighborhood meetings, I
No,
don't
we're
feel
gonna be-
comfortable establishing the dates right now.
No, can you remind me though what the meetings are and if we had any idea of where might be great to meet?
The schoolhouse is easy for one of them.
Yeah, so that's,
And then
that
where
was,
where would we meet on Plum Island?
Peter Hall,
Okay?
do we have
So that has
to
be
like,
arranged.
yeah, there's a, yeah.
is it,
So, Plum Island Taxpayers Association, PETA,
Island?
is Plum Island Taxpayers Association, PETA Hall. I can contact them and just let them know, that we would.
And give them approximate date.
Yeah.
It'll be such and such.
Okay, and then,
And
so
then
Newbury,
what-
what is this
in,
neighborhood called?
Byfield
Just
where?
Lower Green. Just Lower-
Pardon?
so Lower Green,
Lower Green
Plum
is the
Island.
schoolhouse.
yeah.
Plum Island.
And I can
And
bring.
Byfield is either maybe the senior center, or the
Oh, senior
library,
center, that's an
or the
idea.
library,
Library's hard to get into.
is it?
That's why we meet at the firehouse down on Morgan. Actually, you could have it there. That's always empty.
Not for Byfield, we want
Oh, I'm
Byfield
sorry,
to-
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we
No,
want Byfield.
That was the
to
whole
have-
idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Good, thank you. So senior center
I mean,
or
we're
the,
in Byfield right now.
Right, so, the conference room, the senior center is downstairs,
Here?
right here.
Yeah,
yeah,
When
as
you walk
soon as
out
you
the door,
walk
it's on
in.
your left.
yeah.
Oh,
No, it's on your right, as soon as you walk
Well,
in.
when you walk in, or say when you walk out, it's on your.
gotcha.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Okay, well, sweet, that's in place then.
Yeah.
Cool, 'cause I'm thinking of
But there's that.
parking.
You should look through the window before you say that. It's an odd shape.
But we also
And-
do
and-
have
but
this
we
possibility,
could-
right? It's easy
When
enough
when we
to-
get an approximate date, we could talk to the library, I'd say. The
And
library would be
so-
better set up for this.
so
This
I
would be
know-
an evening, right?
We're not gonna pick like dates right now, that's
No,
fine.
no,
No.
no, I mean,
No, but I just wanna ask,
Months.
in your minds, generally when are we talking? Are we talking this fall, winter,
Oh,
early
no,
next
fall.
year? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was-
This is all we were waiting for, because you had to put a map up.
well,
Yeah,
yeah,
we-
but now we have to wait till the next meeting to send out, to be able to print the mailers between our hopefully October meeting and who knows when, because holidays are tough. We then have to mail them out, we have to give people enough time, but not too much time, they forget to schedule them, and now we're in the holidays. Now we're talking about scheduling something in December, which it's not impossible, but it becomes a lot trickier, both for us and for people, so like maybe early December is what anyway, I just want to like get that rolling, or are we thinking
Well,
mid-January?
we could hold a meeting in 2 weeks or a week to vote on this one particular thing and discuss it and vote on it on a mailer.
Well, yeah, I'd have to get on that, which I can sort of do. to make, we'd have to have a postcard to mail out and be ready. Once that goes, are
Well,
you the person
no,
to just
well,
give
I meant for voting on it, because that's the only thing that's gonna hold us up. We gotta wait till the next meeting to vote on it.
Yeah,
And then make them, and then mail them out, and then
Yeah.
get them back and analyze them.
Yeah.
And then have a meeting. So what if we could meet in a week
could we
to
just do
vote
this
on
on
it?
Zoom? Could we do a quick meeting on Zoom? I'm fairly certain other committees that meet on Zoom, just to vote,
I don't know,
just hold
the
a,
camera.
can we do this?
No, I mean, right, it's gotta be
Zoom's
a public
recorded.
meeting if we're gonna be voting on it.
Zoom's recorded, you can publish those. I know a number of the other committees on the Newbury, at Newbury
Oh.
do meet on Zoom,
Okay,
so I just wonder if we could, we call it a poll vote at work where you just, like, it's an email, but in between regularly scheduled meetings, I would do the same thing, we post it 48 hours in
We could-
advance,
we
say
could-
there's
we
something
could
happening,
post a
anyone can
Zoom.
join.
We could post a Zoom meeting, and
That's
if
what
you
I-
wanna join,
That's what I
and if
mean.
you can't, you go to the recording.
I think that's what
Got
other
it.
committees do,
There you go.
but if we could
Oh,
do that.
wait a minute. Do you
What?
mean the citizens of the town would go to a Zoom meeting?
They can't make comments on it. If they can't make comments on it, on a recording where the vote has already occurred. We post this on the site.
So, okay,
And they
so
can
hold
see
on.
what
An
happened.
informational.
If they wanted-
No, we're in two different conversations.
So I'm talking about an informational,
I hadn't thought of that, that's not what I was referring to. There is a thought, what I was referring to very quickly was having
Us.
one of these meetings
Yeah.
on Zoom. It is a live link that the town sends out to everyone. It is available on the calendar.
Oh.
Anyone can join the live Zoom, and it is recorded, so there is
How
an
long does it take to
opportunity.
set one of those up?
5 minutes?
Okay, no, there you go. So that'll work even better.
I'm just meaning that just for this, so that we don't have to wait a full month or so
Right.
to get on this and approve this and this.
Yeah.
It would be like maybe 2 weeks,
2
maybe
weeks
3
would be
weeks,
great.
and we can have a Zoom, a
Oh,
quick
2 weeks. I don't know if I-
evening Zoom meeting we play it for an hour, 40 minutes, because that's typical, and then anyone who wants to join, but the whole idea, kind of like a site visit, it would be like a special meeting on the, as we would say on the event, but it's just on.
It's a
Zoom.
Zoom
Well,
meeting.
yeah,
I was
it's
just saying,
like,
I'm
you
gonna
know,
be,
like
I'm
during-
gonna be in Seattle, but
during
it won't matter.
the pandemic,
because it's a
right, it
Zoom
doesn't
meeting.
matter.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's a really good idea. I think that would be great, so we don't have to wait too long to get on
Yeah.
these mailings.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we can also have a quorum, and we can, like, well, we do have a quorum, but like all of us here to decide dates, pick them, submit, approve, and then we give that to you, and you send the get the postcard to the,
Oh, you can print it? I could do that,
Okay.
yeah.
okay,
I'm very used
let's do
to
that.
dealing with things.
Informational meetings.
That is the other
Do
question.
we do maybe
That's-
3 informational meetings?
That was our idea, right, in 3 different places. But what if we had them on Zoom? Is that a really good idea or a really bad idea? Would it be productive?
Terrific idea.
I mean, more people could possibly come. You also are similarly with having QR code versus the option of print surveys, maybe not opening up to the entirety of the population who aren't as comfortable doing things online. So I think having at least one in person is definitely important, but
Which one, whichever
We could
groups
also-
I've picked, we're taking a chance with.
because these aren't gonna be, they aren't gonna be recorded, these are not gonna be recorded meetings, right?
Ah,
Right? Right?
well,
Oh, what's a thought, I don't know.
I don't know.
Do they have to be recorded? I mean, the one that we had last summer.
No, just a
was not.
presentation, they wouldn't have to be recorded, we're not making any decisions, we're not asking for,
Okay, it's
permission
not
or,
it's not
yeah, I don't
a
think so.
public meeting, it's an event or something.
Yeah, an informational session.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we didn't, well, actually, we did last time,
Yeah,
because we wanted people to know we were having it.
yeah.
well, we let people know, but the one that we
But-
had in
but
the.
we don't, I
the
don't
room,
think we need
didn't
to make a
record it.
record of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, right, we didn't have minutes or anything like that, it was like, hey, come talk if you want, and we talked, and that was it. Okay.
I'd
No, I
vote
don't
for
think we
in-person.
should, I think I vote for in-person too.
Alright.
And the reason for that, I think, is that I think it will be more productive if we can all have a discussion face-to-face versus either trying to manage comments online
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
people unmuting, not, talking over each other, being,
Yeah.
I think in person it might be a bit easier to actually have a helpful discussion. Plus, people tend to act differently in person than online. Okay, so, fantastic. So we are thinking fall for these dates.
We have to be thinking.
That's what I was really hoping you'd say, but I'm nervous about that. The end of the year seems to be coming very quickly. That's frightening. Okay, thank you very much for indulging me with that. I think we're just on to additional business. Is there any?
Is there any additional business? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No? Okay.
We're gonna have a final map.
Public comment is, we have no one in the audience. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Wait,
Second?
our next meeting.
Next meeting.
Oh, good point.
So I did hear from Robin regarding this.
Okay.
If I can pull up my email.
He said not between the 15th and the 19th, I believe.
And
he said.
I am out,
What?
I'm gonna go to Italy and Greece in October.
Oh, cool.
Va bene.
Yes.
Quanto costa?
Quanto costa?
Quanto costa?
So I am unavailable the 14th through the 30th.
Of October?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's gotta be early in October, and I'm back by October, so I'm okay.
Okay, would the 7th work? That is 4 weeks away
Let's do it.
for a full
Could
meeting.
I see your calendar on your, I got it. Oh, there we go, that's what I meant, the one on the left. So, where's September?
Here's where we are.
Okay, I'm just looking. Okay, yeah, I'm back the 1st or the 2nd. So-
Okay, so the 7th,
So 7th.
which is a Monday.
7 October.
7th of October.
At 5:30.
That's good, I've held those dates. And then for a quick poll vote Zoom meeting, I will send out a couple dates to confirm with our other two.
Okay.
But would sometime, you say you're back the 1st. I need a couple weeks probably to create this draft, and send it out. So what about the 26th of September?
And that's for what? For voting on?
For just a Zoom
A Zoom.
meeting. It is a meeting, but it will not be long. It will be in,
Okay, and
Just
by
a-
then I'll need the plan put together for how we're gonna print it, how we're gonna mail them, where they have to go. So that's all there when we're taking the vote.
yeah, we vote,
Okay.
and then we will also need to during that meeting, pick our dates for
In our
the
place.
3 information sessions, so I can put those on the postcard.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay,
I'll
so the
start
20
checking on
26th,
that now.
hold around there, 26th.
What's the date for?
That's a Thursday, is that, I know
Let's
you're probably gone. It's a Thursday, the 26th of September.
see.
But it's a Zoom,
But it's Zoom, and it
It's
shouldn't be more
Zoom.
than an hour, 40 minutes tops, because that's,
3-hour difference.
oh, you're in Seattle. Okay.
I can't remember.
Okay, so
I
I will
remember
send,
when
I
we
will
were
send
getting
out an
back.
email. I will send out an email, and to check with others too, just for around the week, let's say the week of the 23rd.
Okay.
Okay.
But, yeah, that's good, yeah.
And then
Perfect.
I will
Alright.
confirm. Okay.
So, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll take your motion that we adjourn.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Meeting is over. Thank you
Wow.
very much.